Alright, what's up YouTube? We're back with a video, and in this video we're going to talk about investing in Pokemon, right? But we fixed the camera, so the camera's actually picking up the whole screen and it's actually clear, and I want to show you this. So basically when I bought a Bulbasaur, no, Bulbasaur, basically this is a frog with a garlic bulb on the back, right? So I used to watch the Bulbasaur a lot, so you know, the guy's sick. Right, so I'm going to probably watch some of his trade videos again and do a video on it. So if you want to see that, you know, stick out where it was. I didn't like how the shop stuck a security tag on it, but they're knobs. Yeah. Right? Probably people nicking them, right? So investing in Pokemon solely for cash. Yeah, solely for cash. Right? If you want to just invest in Pokemon for cash, right? If this is your main goal, pounds, if you just want pounds, dollars, whatever money you have, right? So basically we'll just kind of leave that there, right, for the video, right? You just want to invest in Pokemon for cash, right? So what you want to do is you want to buy stuff that is going to sell later on, yeah? So you have to buy items that completely, you know, utter that you can get rid of fast, yeah, fast, you know, boom, right? You know, the technical term they use is liquid assets, like, for example, water, because, you know, we use this maritime system and this is where it all comes from, yeah, the law of the water, right? So, investing in Pokemon, so basically I made like a few like bullet points. So I put like singles, blisters, booster boxes, shit grades, high grades, special illustration rares. This is what we're going to touch on. Illustration rares, we're going to go mini tin and JoeG prints. Yeah, it's basically, this is going to be a plug. Yeah, this is a plug, right? This is a plug. Yeah, I'm going to show you this right now, right, real quick. Yeah, real quick. So we got the signature, yeah, on the back. Now this is obviously a PETG. You don't really like this kind of plastic. It's a bit weird, but anyway, this is what you do with your mini tins. You put your mini tins on display, right, in, you know, your room, your display, your shelves and stuff, right? Basically, I can make these in any colour. Obviously, I've got a 3D printer. If there's anyone that's interested in any of these, you know, just shoot me an email, right, or, you know, give me your Instagram name and I'll follow you or message you on it, and then we can do a price. PayPal friends would be obviously cheaper, because I think you could probably do these for around like 10 for like £15 shipped, probably. So I think that's probably what I'll do, right? Just depending on how long it take. The print time's a bit mad. So basically, investing in Pokemon. So we'll touch on booster boxes. Let's take you back to the time when I bought Primal Clash. So I bought Primal Clash, I bought the packs, the boxes, I ripped them open, started opening the packs for the channel. Basically, you know, you don't want to be ripping packs if, you know, you're investing in cards, because you're just gambling, right? Like, for example, you got a load of Shield booster packs. If you open all these, you want to hit a good card, right? And you want to hit a good card to sell it. So you need to, if not profit, by gambling and opening a booster and then selling it later on. So, for example, all these packs are from boxes that I've basically broken open, and I don't intend to open these because I, you know, one, if not, I will grade some of the packs to sell them later, or, you know, I'll just keep them for sealed. Yeah, sealed, like some stuff, I like certain arts on certain packs, so I'll grade them and keep them for a collection. But obviously, most people want to sell, make money, sell, just only for cash. So what you will do is you probably grade all these boosters, if, you know, or, you know, that's one way you can do it. Or you can basically sell them all to rip and shippers if, you know, you're in America. Or rip and shippers will buy single booster packs, because they will go on eBay and they will go bum, 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 let's say for a set that they can't get anymore, like from a distributor or a product, you know, wherever. They will just go bum, 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 and they will buy everything, yeah? So, but rip and shippers have to get the product here, there, and everywhere. Like the Card Communist said basically in one of his videos that he spent like $50,000 in a day on just Pokemon cards. And, you know, Pokemon items, PSA cards, boosters, whatever. So, you know, there's certain sets that you can't get from distributors anymore, like Evolving Skies, right? That set, as you break their packs are going to keep going up in price. You know, as you break Crown Zenith is just going to keep going up in price. If you break 151, it's just going to keep going up in price because, you know, it's coming to the 2-year time and it's going to be out of print. It's literally going to be out of print. So, all these blooming water boxes, once they're all soaked up, and all the mini tins, like for example, all the mini tins from 151, which, you know, you get the electables. Right, you got 2 151 packs in these, so basically once you start getting these and ripping them all open, you know, you basically now, you know, the product's going to diminish. Same thing with Prismatic. Prismatic's going to take, so Prismatic just came out, right, so it should technically be out of print within end of, you know, like November 2026, I would say, 2027, right, so it might be out of time there. Right, they'll probably take it out of print, right, and it'll be finished, and then they'll be printing some next set that you've never heard about, and with mainly Pogger rares that you can get in the box, and you can get loads and loads of Pog cards, and then no one's gonna be like, well, Prismatic, that's junk. I don't want that. I can buy this now. So, you know, you want something that you can sell later on, 100%, right? So, for example, yeah, booster boxes. A booster box. Is someone always going to buy a booster box? When I was ripping Primal Clash booster boxes, going, yeah, I'm going to rip these, I'm going to grade some cards, I'm having a blast, I'm having a laugh opening product, right? But a financial standpoint, it's not a good idea to be sitting there ripping booster packs out of a box because technically you're gambling to try and get something that's good, right? So sometimes you have to, like, bite the bullet and basically buy the card if you want, if it's for a collection. If you're just selling, you care about cash, you know, most of these people on YouTube, they just care about money. They don't care about the cards, they don't like collectibles, you know, they don't like them, you know, they're not bothered, they just want money. Yeah, money, you know, they want, like, you know, let's say you invest in 1,000 boxes of Eve Baby, right, or whatever, you know, it goes out of print, you know, it's still the same, like, if they stop printing it, you know, there's people out there that probably want to rip it, right, so, regardless of the product, if you have someone that wants to open it to, like, you know, do a YouTube channel, there's people with big YouTube channels that make big average revenue from opening boxes. Leonard will rip booster boxes, you know, obviously when he will retire, you know, he'll probably be doing this till he's 60, so will people be watching him at 75 opening Pokemon cards? He'll probably be dead by then. Right, so anyway, right, shit graded cards, right, you can't just go out and buy any card and expect to get rid of it later, right? Like, for example, you'll have things sitting there 2, 3, 4 years. You know, I've had CGC cards. These things are wank. Like, they're impossible to move. Like, depending on what the card is, like, you know, a holo, Politoed. You know, Politoed's a, you know, it's not like a Gen 1 Pokemon, but like it's Gen 2. So, you know, Umbreon. If you're going to invest in Umbreon, Sylveon, Leafeon, you know, all these evolution cards, any era, you know, 2005. Jolteon EX, you know, Gold Star, anything, yeah? They're going to be the cards that people are going to buy. Right? They're still going to be buy and they're still going to go up in price. But what the problem is, in my terms of certain items, when they get to a certain value, they only hit a certain collector point. Right? So the collector point would be, for example, Americans have more money to spend on Pokemon cards or assets or, you know, just general stuff. They seem to have more money than the UK. The UK is kind of like impoverished. No one, like 90% of the public don't even have 500 quid in the bank. So if you've got a card that you're going to be, you know, selling for, say, 2,000, 3,000, it's kind of reaching a value where you're kind of only hitting a certain number of people. Right, and then that item is probably more likely to go overseas than it is to stay in England, right? Just because, you know, society is impoverished. It's just the way it is, yeah. So don't focus on buying, like, for example, yeah. We'll take this for example. So I bought a Charizard EX card recently. You know, the raw copy is £14. The graded, to grade it, if I was grading it, it'd be like £16. So, you know, $20 basically grading fee, which PSA is charging now, $20. So obviously the UK is going to have to pay tariffs, after. I mean, it's ridiculous, but the UK already hits you for like 40% VAT on imports if you're importing things anyway, so it's a scam, right? But anyway, back to the fact that you're going to grade that for $20, right, or £20, and then you're going to want to basically sell that and make profit. So if you're going to buy that card for 20 quid, I literally got the card for free. Because after the guys posted it, I'm paying for a slap. I'm paying just basically for a plastic slap. The card in it's free. So whatever grade it's got is free. So basically the lower end items, if you can get a load of PSA 9s for £20 of Charizard, Pikachu, Mew, Umbreon, anything like that, they're going to be collectible later on. Because people are always going to want, like people do these massive collection buys and they go, oh yo, I'm going to have like every PSA 9 or every PSA 10 of Gengar, right? And they'll go and buy every graded card of Gengar or PSA. So if you've got loads of Gengars from every set, all the way down the line, you're always going to be able to sell that collection. Because, if it's Gossifleur, I've got my Gossifleur, I've got 50, I'm a Gossifleur collector, like, you're going to have to find somebody that only collects Gossifleur for you to be interested in your set, right? So, for example, if you collect cards like Blastoise, Charmander, oh wait, we didn't even see that one, Charmander, right? If you're just going to collect Charmander, right, Pikachu, Charizard EX, yeah, Charmeleon, yeah, Mewtwo, and Charmeleon, yeah, you're not going to kind of struggle to get rid of them items. Obviously, we're probably going to grade these anyway, but when submissions grade up. So basically, that's like shit grades. And then your high grades. Your high grades are going to be, your 10. Yeah, PSA 10. Like, sometimes I will sell a 10, yeah, to go get loads of 9s. I'll sell a PSA 10 to go get loads of 9s. Because the 9s, in my eyes, sometimes, depending on what card it is, the 10 is going to reach a certain value point. And then it's kind of like, when it reaches a certain value point, you're like, I want rid of that. I don't want that sitting around. Do you know what I mean? It's too high value. It's either got to go bank vault, or it's got to go somewhere, it's got to go in a safe, it's got to go somewhere it's going to be protected. No public asset item. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got a, like my mate's got a safety deposit box, he's got fucking 80 grand of Rolex watches in there, and it's insured. And I'm like, well, what's the fucking point in having them if you can't sit there and go wear them and walk around in them? You know what I mean? Because they'll get nicked. So sometimes it's like the value's too high. I would personally say move it, yeah, or sell it and let someone else deal with that problem, and then go, take that money and put it in a bank or cash out of it to the way you're mitigating your risk, yeah. So then you can then go buy, multiple cards, more cards that would potentially appreciate in value over time. Because realistically, if you're 25, you're 20, you're 18. You're 15, you've got 25 years. You've got 25 years to look at this investment. If you invest in all these items now, and later on down the line, Pokemon's never going to go out of circulation. There's new kids being born today. In 10 years, they're going to be 13. They're going to be ripping packs. They're going to be opening boosters. They're going to be collecting Pokemon. Pokemon's not going nowhere unless the currency collapses. If the currency collapses, then we're all fucked. Right, basically everyone's complete. They'll find something else to trade. Right, so high grades are going to be your PSA 10 OR of Magikarp from Paldea and Fates. Right, you need to be looking at AI and ask AI how many booster packs it takes to open to find these packs, because these cards that you can't even get within 50 packs or 20 packs, even 80 packs, and it's you buy 80 single boosters off people, you might not even hit that card. So when that card is like 800, 500, you're like, 200 quid, you're like, maybe this is a bit underappreciated. Like, look at Moonbreon, yeah? How many Evolving Skies packs does it land on Moonbreon? We don't know, right? We ask AI, get an idea, and be like, this card's underpriced. So this is what you can do with the next sets that come out, and you can look at them and say, we're buying that one now, let's buy 5 copies of them. I got stacks of cash, you sat there with your, you're comfortable, you got your property, your house, what you're living in, you know what I mean, and then you're you build your emergency fund of money, and then you've got whatever, and then you've got a job, and you're buying and selling all the time. You're comfortable. You can make a large investment where you're not bothered, right? So special illustration rares. This is going to be a big hitter. I reckon these things are going to be mooning. Like 20 years from now, these things are going to be mooning, because who's not going to want because basically, yeah, we look at this as Pokemon, but it's not. It's artwork, because it's art basically, right? Because it has an illustrator, and the illustrator draws with his pencil and his pen and his cardboard, and he does his stuff, right? He does his stuff. He prints. He makes the artwork, right? They stick it on a card, boom, 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 right? Like people collect Neo Shida, Mishari Arita, they only collect his cards. There's there's that Game Freak. I can't remember what it's called. They did like a Charizard, and it was done by I don't know, an AI imager or whatever, and it made it. And I can't remember what it's called now on the card, right? So your illustration rares. So your normal illustration rares. If it's taking you 14 packs to bust an illustration rare, and then the illustration rares that you're buying for like £10, yeah, £20. Well, it could have took you 15 packs to break that card, right? So we all know ripping boosters is not a good idea if you want to be getting special illustration rares right now. You want to be buying 10 items, 10 of the same card, 20 of the same card that that might be collectible later on. So for example, if it's a Charizard, if it's Pikachu, an Umbreon, a Mew, right, an Espeon, that's going to be a collectible item later on, right? And then there was a touch on some subject where we got your mini tins, right? Mini tins have 2 packs in, right? Mini tins have 2 packs. Like for example, you buy your mini tin, right? Your tin's really made of steel. It's kind of scrap. Where I will make a print that goes inside of the mini tin, so you can basically use it for the game, right? And that's basically like, custom tin, which you can make and put in the print. You could then sell the tin, and then get some money back to help buying more boosters, if that's the idea. I don't kind of see the point in keeping the tin sealed. You might as well take the coin out of it, take the 2 packs, bag the 2 packs, put a tracer on it, right? Where you got it from. This pack come from a mini tin. If it sells to a rip and shipper, the rip and shipper knows where it's getting it from. The other guy who's going to buy it to open it knows exactly where it come from. So the tracer's my idea, right? I didn't see anybody doing this, but basically this come from a Charizard Supreme box, right? And I opened this. So if you're going to be one of these people that uses a tracer on the back of the packs after you've labelled them, you got the idea from me. Give me the credit for it. Right, because I don't want people robbing my ideas and then going, oh yeah, man, I invented this myself. Right, like you didn't. Right. So, if I do a rip and ship channel, if I was to do rip and ships in the UK, I would go and buy loads of random boosters from everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, and I would sell them on stream, and I would buy booster boxes off other people, and eBay. I'd just go on eBay and go blah, 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 and buy 20, 30 listings within seconds. So that's the thing. So you need to be buying stuff that is going to be, collectible later. Like 151. 151, there's a big Charizard in there, there's an illustration Blastoise, there's these big cards in there that are probably going to be big later on. So in 10, 20 years from now, if your time frame 10 year, if your time frame's 5 year, right, then obviously you need to be looking at certain cards that will probably appreciate in 5 years. Like Moonbreon's probably going to be, I would say in the next 5 years, 10 years, that's probably going to be like a £10,000 card, $10,000 card, and then you're going to see a lot of people move it, or the price, might stagnate, or might not go up as much, or might come down, because there will only be a certain amount of people within that certain selected pool of money supply who've got spare money, because most of the individuals right now don't have a lot of money, and in my eyes that's dropping, right? Only billionaires, millionaires, and wealthy people is basically going to be able to afford them cards. So these are the people that you're going to be selling to. If you're going to be selling cards to kids, parents, right? They're not going to want to spend a lot of money on certain items. So that's why I always say, in my opinion, if it's too big, get rid before it gets too big, and you can't get rid of it, because, you know, there's nobody out there that will buy off you who's got the basically cash supply to, you know, that can happen. It could happen, right? We don't know. Economic turbulence right now, it's mad, you know. So this is my video. I touched on it, and we'll see you in the next one. Obviously, I like collecting. I like selling the shit I don't want, right? And if there's a time that I buy stuff, I sometimes do buy cards that I will probably get rid of later. You know, but that's if my financial position worsens, or which it's not right now, it's growing. So we'll see you next time. Peace.